Man, when you look at all these hiccups, 2019 seems like a year of embarrassing mistakes. Name's Dave with WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 biggest video game fails of 2019. So for this list, we're looking at some of the foul errors done by video game companies within the past year, whether it's from greedy behavior, sheer negligence, or tone-deaf attitudes.
What do you want me to do? Just stand in the corner and look pretty again?
Number 10. Crunch reports. At the tail end of 2018 and throughout the first half of 2019, it felt like there was a company being outed for enforcing crunch every week. Epic was exposed by several employees for having an abusive and manipulative work environment as they churned out Fortnite content. NetherRealm Studios came under fire from former staff for treating crunch like a joke.
It is time to die.
The most notable story, however, was BioWare's rush to complete Anthem, which, as reported by Jason Schreier, caused the studio to suffer from stress casualties, while relying on quote-unquote BioWare magic to get the job done. Luckily, other companies like CD Projekt Red, Respawn Entertainment, and Crystal Dynamics have gone public with how they've handled development and avoiding crunch, stating that they're actually telling people to go home early and actively looking out for positive workaholism.
You were right.
About what exactly?
Number 9. Mario Kart Tour. While Nintendo hasn't exactly broken the infamously manipulative mold of the mobile game marketplace, they've managed to put out a few decent titles like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp and Pokemon Go. But Mario Kart Tour is not one of those titles, and it's widely regarded to be one of the worst Nintendo games due to its limited content and gacha mechanics, and utilizing nearly every popular smartphone game manipulation tactic in the book. On top of that, the game has the tendency to charge a lackluster $5 in the US, or $6.49 Canadian, for a monthly subscription service. Granted, it wasn't the worst case this year, we'll get to that later, but it was still very tone-deaf. Do we dare mention the lack of actual multiplayer at launch? Bots with player usernames don't count. Check this video out on MojoPlays to know more. Number 8. Shenmue III.
Have you learned anything new, y'all?
Not about your father, no.
The first two Shenmue games are notorious for being some of the biggest commercial flops in video game history. Shenmue 3, released 18 years later after the last entry, was once again a major commercial flop.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
If this is the first time you've heard about Shenmue 3, there's a good reason for that. The game received barely any marketing and was released in the shadows of Death Stranding and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The game didn't do much better with critics either, as it felt like a title that was made in the early 2000s, right down to a fault. Oh, and the game ends with a to be continued screen. Sorry, Mr. Suzuki, we're not holding our breath for Shenmue 4.
But no one comes here nowadays.
Is that so?
Number 7. Fallout 76's subscription service. Oh my god. No, seriously, what were they thinking? This October, Bethesda announced Fallout First, a subscription service that allowed players to create private servers, a scrap box that stored unlimited junk, and a monthly allowance in premium currency and exclusive emotes. All for a low $100 a year. Though, this being a Bethesda game, it didn't take long for things to fall apart. The service launched with private servers that unwanted players could access, worlds that had already been used by other players, and scrap boxes that would permanently delete the items stored inside. Yes, they wanted you to pay $12 a month or $100 a year for this crap. To top it all off, those who did take up the subscription service found themselves repeatedly targeted by griefers in the game. Whoops. Pretty sure Bethesda really is Vault-Tec at this point. Number 6. Bethesda plagiarizes a tabletop RPG.
Ancient Elven is like a second language to me, and scholars across Tamriel revere my ability to make sense of historic gibberish.
For as awful a screw-up as Fallout First was, this was far more humiliating for Bethesda. On May 7, 2019, Bethesda released an Elder Scrolls tabletop RPG to promote the Elsewhere expansion in Elder Scrolls Online.
Look, just ask him and leave me to the soldiering.
The very next day, the project was pulled after Bethesda was accused of plagiarizing the campaign from a Dungeons & Dragons book published by Wizards of the Coast. And the evidence was more than damning, as entire paragraphs were allegedly lifted from the company with merely the names of the items and locations changed. I mean, look at this, look at this side by side, it's literally the exact same thing. Bethesda launched their own investigation into the matter sometime later, and there hasn't been any updates since this PR nightmare began. Wow. Number 5. Activision Blizzard lays off 800 employees.
We're losing the fight. Nearly in the back.
In February 2019, Activision Blizzard posted its fourth quarter and 2018 financial results, boasting a record revenue of $7.5 billion and citing the massive successes of franchises like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Overwatch, Hearthstone, Crash Bandicoot, and Spyro the Dragon. Despite this celebratory occasion, the news quickly soured when the results also stated that Activision Blizzard would be laying off 800 employees, igniting the public to tweet the hashtag #FireBobby in reference to the company's notorious CEO. Oh, and in July 2019, just 5 months after the layoffs, the publishing conglomerate would post job listings for the exact same positions. Yeah, because that will boost employee morale.
Well played.
Beware the shadow.
Number 4, the ESA E3 leak.
I've since contacted the ESA to get it pulled down, as well as clued in a couple other journalists I trust, and we'll go from there.
Independent game journalist Sophia Narwitz, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, uploaded a YouTube video informing the public that the ESA had exposed the personal data of over 2,000 journalists and influencers who attended E3 2019, as well as other prior E3 work.
The Entertainment Software Association, more commonly referred to as their acronym the ESA, had a document out in the open that doxes over 2,000 journalists and content creators.
Despite her best attempts to control the leak of information and inform the ESA, unfortunately, nothing ever stays deleted from the internet, and the inevitable happened, as several outlets and independent journalists were doxed. Whereas some outlets and journalists deemed Narwitz as irresponsible, others more importantly went after the ESA and criticized the organization's negligence. Oh, and what did the ESA have to say about this? We regret this happened and are sorry. Yes, sorry that your personal information got leaked in such a hostile environment that is games journalism. GG ESA.
But I think the public and the press need to hold their feet to the flames because this is simply inexcusable.
Number 3, EA neglects gambling laws and perception of loot boxes.
These kind of mechanics, and FIFA, of course, is our big one. Our FIFA Ultimate Team and our packs is actually quite ethical and quite fun, enjoyable to people.
Ever since the release of Star Wars Battlefront 2, Electronic Arts has found themselves in hot water with the general public as well as politicians. Most of 2019 would see the publisher fighting governments to keep loot boxes in their games, and most of their efforts would end up in failure. In January 2019, EA surrendered their fight with Belgium, having to remove loot boxes from FIFA and other games. When meeting with UK Parliament in June 2019, EA attempted to rebrand loot boxes, calling them surprise mechanics, while claiming they were quite ethical and fun and enjoyable to people. Yeah, no.
Do you consider them ethical?
So what we look at as surprise mechanics.
Unsurprisingly, nobody bought it, and the UK Parliament would deem loot boxes as gambling in September 2019. Nice.
For all of the games we have on the market that have a randomized content mechanic, a surprise mechanic, a loot box, I have no qualms that they are implemented in an unethical way.
Number 2, everything to do with Anthem.
It's been nice having someone around again. Also, the indoor farm looks like it will work perfectly.
Just like you said it would.
What was supposed to be BioWare's redemption after the abysmal Mass Effect Andromeda quickly became their biggest blunder ever, and the disappointment has been relentless. Anthem released to disappointing reviews, and many players reported that the game was causing their PCs and consoles to crash regularly, including our own. Then there was the expose of BioWare's mismanagement during the development and reliance of BioWare Magic, as we stated earlier.
We put you on a javelin, try to reach the cenotaph. You'll get us all killed.
But the biggest kick in the pants came in September 2019, when BioWare announced that it was abandoning its roadmap. Or lack of announcement and just removed the roadmap. With more than half the player base quitting the game just 2 months after launch, is anyone still playing this? The game is now poised to receive a major overhaul similar to what happened to Final Fantasy XIV, though BioWare will have a major uphill battle in order to turn public perception around.
We'll see. It's complicated.
Wow, that took a turn.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Blitzchung vs Blizzard. In early October 2019, Activision Blizzard banned Hearthstone player Wei Chung, aka Blitzchung, after he showed support for the Hong Kong democracy movement. And wow, did things escalate quickly. As a result of the ban, the hashtag #BoycottBlizzard quickly became trending. Fans began making art of Mei from Overwatch to support Hong Kong, which even made it onto the streets of Hong Kong, and Blizzard employees staged a walkout. It wouldn't be long before Activision Blizzard suspended 3 more players who voiced their support too. Even US senators and congressmen and women from both Republican and Democratic parties wrote to Activision Blizzard expressing their deep concern over the company's values. Oh, and Nintendo would out Blizzard for cancelling the Overwatch for Switch launch event in New York. The official response from Blizzard company president J. Allen Brack only added more fuel to the outrage fire, and even at BlizzCon, he delivered what could only be described as one of the vaguest apologies ever spoken in public.
We moved too quickly in our decision making, and then, to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on MojoPlays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.